My last name is Brown.
My last name is Waden.
McFadden.
Maule, M-A-U-L-E.
My maiden name is Jones.
Do you know the origins of your last name?
No, I don't know the origin of my last name.
It's German.
No, I'm not certain. I'm pretty sure it's European though. Yeah.
It's British.
I think just American.
Who is the oldest family member you can name, dead or alive?
The oldest relative I have living.
The oldest person that I remember from my family is my Uncle Pum. And he was my grandfather's brother on my father's side.
Probably say, yeah, that would be my paternal grandmother, Elaine Shaw. She is 80 years old.
That's still alive?
Alive or dead?
Oh, well, that would be my father. Actually, well, my grandfather.
That would be my mother, Emma Jones.
How old is she?
She's 83.
My great-grandmother, Rose Burnham, lived to be about 93. She recently passed away.
Have you ever considered doing your family history or doing your genealogy?
Yes, actually, I started a little project through Ancestry.com.
Yes, I have.
Well, I have considered it, but I felt like it was gonna be a lot.
I am interested in history, and yes, I have considered doing the research.
No, I never tried doing any research. I have a nephew that's been doing research, but myself, no.
My maiden name is Blacklock, and Blacklock means dark hair or dark locks. I am the daughter of Charles R. Blacklock Sr., who was the son of William Blacklock, who was the son of Will Blacklock, who was the son of Lynn Blacklock, who was the son of Sam Blacklock. I've been researching the Blacklock side of the family for 25 years, and I've been able to go back 6 generations. Right now, I'm looking for Sam, my third great-grandfather. I found him in the 1870 census, and he's not eluding me. I just need to know where to find him. You know, my ancestors talk to me and they tell me, they give me little hints and clues as to where I can look for them. When I first started researching, I didn't go backwards like most people do. I just went straight to the 1870 census and I found Sim, and it was like winning the lottery, like hallelujah, yes, there he is. And I really want to find out where he originated from when he first stepped foot on this North American continent. I want to find out who his father was, who his mother was, what tribe in Africa they came from. I want to have this Alex Haley moment. I have 2 theories about how Sim got to Texas. Oh, that's Sim. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't believe it. The first theory is he came with the Strong family, and the Strong family got to Texas in 1849, and so I think he might have come with that family. Or the second theory is I found a slave ship manifest that has a Simon on there, and the shipper and owner, his last name is Blacklock. So I'm thinking maybe Sim got to, he was brought to New Orleans, maybe, and actually he must have been sold there and then came to Texas. So those are 2 theories that I have, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to just narrow it down and find out exactly where he came from. Well, what I did was I looked in the 1870 Rusk County Census book,
Yeah.
and found some Blacklock on page 303.
Yeah.
And I found the Strong family. There's a Mary Strong also living. There are no other white Blacklocks in the area, but he's living among a white family whose last name is Strong. So I'm hoping that I can glean something from the strong family histories that might say if he came to Texas with this family or not. So maybe that might help me out.
One would indicate, especially since they're on the 1870 census, that there is some sort of relationship to that family, especially when they're on the same page. Whether it was, whether they related, they were just living together, whether they're working together, there is some sort of relationship. So we do have some strong family histories here. Would you like to go look at those?
My glasses on today.
Okay, great.
Help me out.
Okay, let's see. Strong STR. There we go. Yeah. Oh boy, a lot of entries for that family, Deborah.
By looking in this book, I can go backwards and find more information on the Strong. Well, this is actually the family who I think held Sim. They would have come from Georgia, and on the 1870 census, Sim says he came from Georgia. So I'm thinking, this is the family. So this book is valuable. I found some information, and you're right, it is biographical, and then it even says when they came to Texas in 1849.
1849. That's pretty. That's before statehood. That's great. And
so
that's exactly what we do. Is we're going to look at some of these books, get some clues, and then continue to go back to trace the family back. You are really lucky.
I am lucky. Yes. Thank
Very
you,
wonderful.
Thank you.
Yep. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Okay. Genealogy explains our inherited physical features and traits. It also helps you learn about surnames. As the ancestors married, you get all these different surnames. So it's important to know who we are related to. I once worked in the library as an assistant, and there were 2 students in the library who had the same last name. And one day as I was checking out a book to that student, I asked, "Are you related to so-and-so?" And she said, "I'm not sure, Miss Sloan." And I said, "But you 2 are the only students in the building with that last name. So, it could be that you're related." And she said, "I don't know, we'll see." Well, she came back 2 weeks later and said, "Mrs. Sloan, we're first cousins." So here you have 2 first cousins in the same building and they don't even know it. So a lot of the students didn't even know their grandparents' first name. They only knew them as Papa and Mima and Nani and different names like that. We should tell our children what their ancestors' names were so they will know who they're related to.
How do you get started with yourself? How do you get started doing genealogy? You start asking questions when you're really young, and then you decide that you got a bunch of stuff, and then you want to put it together. You start with yourself and you work backwards. That's the basic tenet. That's the way to lay a foundation for the research. People often get interested, as you brought up, with an ancestor farther back, and that is a process also.
Right. It starts off where you got this interest in knowing about who you are, because a lot of times you know more about people who's on TV, like celebrities, than you do your own family. And it's like, wait a minute, I have a family too. I want to know about them and where they came from.
And that's what happens when people, when you say, you start with yourself, you really do. You know mostly about yourself, about your parents, and that's why people come with that interest, maybe 1 or 2 generations, 3 generations back. And we have to start with that foundation, making sure that that foundation is solid, going over that before we can begin to investigate those that are farther back to make sure that we have that. And that's when all the digging begins and the fun and the discovery.
Oh, yes.
About in the late 1990s, my parents and I, we took a road trip. We went to Dallas, and I met my great aunt sister, or Aunt Willoughville, which was her real name. And she was very tall. She had this white hair. She was very wiry for her age. And instead of going out and talking to my cousins, I just wanted to interview her because I was fascinated with her features because I'd never seen her before. And so I started interviewing her without realizing it, asking her where was she born, what was her mom's name, what was her dad's name, where did her grandfather come from, and she started giving me this information, and I started writing it down, and then she pulled out this little photo about maybe a 3x5, maybe smaller than that, and it was a picture of her father, Will Blacklock, and I was like, oh my God, do you have any more pictures of Will Blacklock? And she goes, no, this is the only photo I have. And I said, well, can I take it and go to Kinko's and make a copy of it? And she says, no, baby, I can't let you do that. And I said, well, I promise I'll bring it right back in, sister. Just let me make a copy of it, and then, and then I'll bring it back to you. And she was like, no, baby. I ended up taking my camera and taking a picture of it. And of course, the quality was horrible, and so I was like, okay, I'll just have to do. But I want you to know that when my ancestor died, one of my dad's first cousins, she sent me an envelope, and she had a little note in it, and it said, Deb, ancestor wanted you to have this photo, and it was a photo of Will. And I still have that photo. I've made several copies since then, so I still have it. So thank you, ancestor. I appreciate you, and I love you. Regarding the census takers, they made a lot of mistakes, so I don't take what they wrote. I take what they wrote with a grain of salt. For instance, I had a hard time finding Lynn Simpson. I was looking for him in the 1880 census. I was looking and looking. Finally, I put in his wife's first name, and there it was, listed as Blacklock. His first name was Black, his last name was Lock. So, you know, we have to be careful when we're researching because the census takers made a lot of mistakes. Also, keep in mind, blacks had a naming pattern. For instance, they might change up the name a little bit, but the idea that he would keep that surname Blacklock once he came to Texas, that means something to me, and I want to find out exactly who his slaveholder was and why he chose to keep that last name Blacklock. So in John Strong's 1854 will and appraisement, my ancestors were listed with oxen, with cotton, with rice, with the mules, with tools, because they were considered property. Now, I was glad to find that document, but it was still kind of debasing to see my ancestors listed in that document with those other things that John Strong owned. Now, the reason I knew those persons listed in that inventory were my ancestors is because when I looked at the 1880 census, there was Lynn and his wife Adeline, and her parents were living above them. And so what I did, I connected the dots by looking at Lynn's in-laws in the 1854 will and appraisement, and then finding them in 1880. So the same persons that were in that 1854 document were listed on the 1880 census, and that's how I made the connection. So after realizing that John Strong owned slaves, and I found out that he did have a will, it was in the index of probate. My husband and I, we drove to Henderson in Rusk County, and I presented the document to her, to one of the clerks, and she came back and said, we have nothing on it, there's no document on it, because on the index it had no ND. So I started looking for other things, and I came home disappointed. And you know, I never forgot about that. My ancestors kept whispering in my ear, telling me, you know, that, you know, come and find me. And then my gut kept telling me, you know, that there's something there. The clerk missed it. And I mentioned to my husband, I said, we got to go back to Rusk County. I said, because my gut is telling me there is a document on John Sloan. I know there is. And he said, but we didn't find anything. I said, I know. But sometimes, you know, you got to follow your gut. So we get there. I showed the index to the clerk, and she came back with this great big book, and the document was in there. So a lot of times we have to follow our gut, we have to listen to our ancestors, and we have to rely on the generosity of the clerks who help us when we're researching. Now, I didn't find Sim in that document, but I did find his son's in-laws in there. They were listed. It was an 1854 will and inventory appraisement of everything John Strong owned, everything. My ancestors were listed by name, by age, and how much they were worth. And that is a very valuable document, very instrumental when people are looking for the last slaveholder. And I cherish that document to this day. But the whole point is to follow your gut, listen to your gut, listen to your ancestors telling you, come find me, come find me. I ran into a roadblock in my research, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to call directory assistance, because I am notorious for picking up the phone, calling directory assistance and saying, give me all the Blacklocks listed in that area. And this particular day, I got a listing for a Dr. J. Bob Blacklock. And I thought, well, at least he's here in the city. And I called his office and got his secretary, and I said, listen, my name is Debra Blacklock-Sloan. I don't want any money. This is not a joke. But I'm looking for my ancestors, and I'm trying to see if perhaps Dr. Blacklock's ancestors would have owned mine. About a week ago, I met him for the first time, and it took 18 years for us to meet, and it was a very pleasant meeting, but it took that long, but we finally got a chance to meet each other and compare notes again.
Well, you know, I'm glad that I did that cold call to you way back in 1996, because I'd run into a brick wall then. I can't believe it's been that long. I know, oh my gosh. Ran into that brick wall, and I called you because I was having, I wasn't having any luck finding who the slaveholder was. Yeah. And when I called you, and I talked with your secretary, and she listened patiently, and I thought, well, you may not call me back. I'm not gonna be anxious. And then when you called back, I nearly jumped out of my skin. I'm like, oh my God, he called me back. And so, and then you sending this information to me, very valuable. And whenever I do my genealogy talk and I tell people that you sent this to me, everybody goes, oh, they just gasp. They can't believe it. They can't believe it. So
it's not the Holy Grail. It's just
to some people, I mean, it's the Holy Grail to me, because I ran into this roadblock and I didn't know what else to do. And you know, you and I ran in a small circle back in 2009. And my husband was diagnosed with brain cancer. He was admitted to Methodist. He was there for a week, and I'll never forget. I was walking down the hallway, and I instinctively looked up, and I saw your name on the door, and I was like, that can't be Dr. Blacklock, it can't be. And, you know, of course, I was busy with him, and I know you were busy, and I thought, small world, oh my God. So we run in a small circle. But, like I said, I'm hoping we can make a connection. I don't know. You know, it's been close to 25 years researching, and, you know, and you're the only white person who's really helped me so far, you know, because, you know, I would be on Ancestry on the message boards, and as long as I was asking about William Blacklock, people would respond to me. But when I started asking about slaves, you know, did your ancestor own slaves? It just got quiet out in cyberspace. Nobody wanted to respond, so.
Well, I mean, those are the facts. You know, you don't choose your parents, and you certainly don't choose your ancestors.
Absolutely.
But Blacklock's owned a lot of slaves, no question.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a wide open field.
It is.
I was very interested in your comment about your great grandfather Sim. Is that the right number, Grace?
Yes. Well, let me show you my pedigree chart.
You'll have to guide me through it. Where do
Okay,
we start?
absolutely. Okay, so here's my dad here.
All right.
And then here's my grandfather, right here, William. The name William is being passed along, as you can see.
Yep.
And there's his father, Will.
All right.
Here's his father, Will. And his father, Sim, which is where I'm stuck.
Okay.
And I'm thinking Frederick is Sim's father, or Simon. I think his name might be Simon. So, yeah. So, and Sim is my third great-grandfather.
How did you link these? By what sources did you
Well,
do this?
I just, you know, birth records and death records. And basically death records and the census records as well. So that's how I linked them.
And all this is in Texas?
All this is in Texas. Yeah, and then I'm trying to find out who actually owned, who the slaveholders were for Sim.
Yeah.
And as I said, you know, he says he was born in Georgia, and I think he came with some family here to Texas.
Well, let me show you the trail that I've got.
Okay.
Mine, I just narrowed this down straight to my own little trail, my own little family.
Okay.
And there's lots of cousins and brothers and sisters. Some of these families, one of these families had 14 children.
Wow.
So a lot of Blacklock scattered all over from this lineage, of course. As best I can tell, my oldest ancestor came to America from north of England, actually, in the late 1500s, and then it goes from Virginia into Maryland. And then there was a point at which they went to Kentucky, and then, as we've discussed, they came to Texas. we have definite, I was able to find definite records of slave ownership into Kentucky, and then I've got a narrative note about upon the movement of my ancestor to Texas, along with his in-laws. So it was two families, his family and his in-laws' family. They packed up all their belongings and took their slaves with them, according to the narrative.
Okay.
But I find no record in Burleson County or Milam County of slave ownership by the Blacklocks. But you don't know where he got the name Blacklock. You can't connect him to a Blacklock family so far, right?
No, because in the 1870 census, there are no white Blacklocks living near him. He's surrounded by a family of Strongs, and so, which made me go and check the probate records, and then this is the estate of John Strong. So Sim's son's in-laws are listed, but Sim is not listed in here at all. So maybe he's on a neighboring plantation, I don't know. So, but they kept the name Blacklock, and I know that there are certain naming patterns that slaves took once they became emancipated. So for him to keep the Blacklock name, either it's from your line or I don't know, it's from Georgia. That's what I'm trying to find out.
My understanding is that my particular Blacklocks, it would appear, turned up in Maryland, but a lot of Blacklocks, I think, came in through South Carolina and Nova Scotia and all up the whole eastern seaboard.
This is a list of passenger and immigration lists, and there are some Blacklocks listed on there. I don't know if any of those are your ancestors or not, but they're listed on there. So, I'm just going over all my records again, just in case I missed something. And a lot of times we do miss some items, so I don't know. And you said the spelling is different too.
There's a Thomas. Yeah, you know, some of these folks, according to my reading, had some had an E on it.
Okay, right.
I've seen
them.
Is.
Yeah. Is that him?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I kid you not.
Okay.
Look at
the one at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. And some of these Blacklocks used an E.
Okay.
Oh my goodness! Look at this.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Okay, right there.
Yeah, right
okay,
there.
That's him.
Thomas Blacklock. Check that date out.
Okay.
Look at this.
Oh wow, that is him.
Appears to be.
Okay.
That's the date.
Wow, same date?
Yeah. Well, I mean, same year. They don't.
Same year.
Yeah, I don't have a date.
Okay. Wow.
Thomas Blacklock with an E on it. Virginia, 1623.
Well, that would be the English spelling, right? With an E on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start researching from there.
Wow.
I'm gonna start researching from Virginia and see, because I keep thinking I'm gonna have an Alex Haley moment.
Suddenly it's gonna.
I'm gonna have an Alex Haley moment. I'm gonna be able to trace him back to when he first came to America. But for him to keep that Blacklock name, that must mean something, to the family. It must mean something.
I'm fascinated by what you said about the white people didn't want to talk about slaves.
No, they didn't. Because
I found the same thing. I did. And, of course, Ancestry didn't exist in 1996, nor, so a book like that, I was able to share with you, was a big deal then, but all that's in the internet now.
Yeah.
But when I've gone on Ancestry.com, and which I only recently did, and started trying to track slaves, if you type in the word slave,
it gets real quiet out there.
It gets very quiet. Yeah,
I know.
I mean, it's dead end, and I'm thinking, really?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, Bob. I mean, I don't hold. It's like what you said earlier. I don't hold anybody I don't hold you responsible for what your great ancestors did, because as you said, it was just what they did. So my main thing is I just want to find my ancestors.
Yeah.
I want to find. If you've got the records, I won't be mad. I mean, just like you contacted me and you gave me this information.
I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating,
fascinating.
And more people should research their family history.
I'll tell you what I've been doing. I made a couple of phone calls, and I went and actually talked to a blood bank doctor friend of mine, and I've done a little tip tapping on the internet. I would like to get a blood test for both of us and see if we're related. My blood bank friend said his response was probably.
Okay.
So I think it's just going to kind of all depend. It's all done on maternal mitochondrial DNA.
Right.
And
yeah.
he said, yeah, probably could.
Wow.
He's going to put me onto the right people at the Med Center to get a legit non-commercialized best level test we can get.
Okay.
And I'm all in if you are.
Oh yeah, I am. I want to see what else you have over there. What's all of this? I'm excited about what's
Well,
over
this
there.
is just the battery carriage house.
Oh, okay. When you stay there, it's nice.
No, I'm sorry. This is the William Blacklock.
Okay, William
Blacklock.
Blacklock.
This is the William Blacklock. Do you have one of these?
No, I don't.
Oh, you do?
Thank you. Thank you. Nice
And
rendering.
this book is sort of a holy grail of Blacklock heritage.
Okay.
According to what I found on the internet, everybody's looking for this book. Turns out I have it, and you have it.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you sent me. Yeah,
So
that's
we're good.
great. Oh yeah.
Let's see what else I got here. Here is some information about a slave Kentucky. It continues over here.
Okay, wow. Okay, so these are slaves listed in here?
Those are slave listed in there.
Oh, you know what's scary? My third great aunt's name is Grace.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is the Grace there?
I don't know if she would have been born then, but wow. Let's see, let me look and see. 22. Well, she was born in 1948, so I don't know. Wow. I've got to look into this now. Wow. Yeah. So if you can send this to me, that would be great.
You can have it.
Oh, great.
I've got all that. And,
okay.
Well, I just skipped to you. These are all references.
I want some of my uncle's name in there. Yeah, my uncle's a globetrotter.
Oh, is that right?
Well, he coaches a globetrotter.
I knew that. Yes. So he's your relative.
My dad's brother. My dad's brother. Yeah. Well, thank you. Wow. Wow.
Globetrotter.
Oh, okay.
And I got one more interesting item here.
Oh, okay.
And this is for you. There was a foundry in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, that was started by someone named Lodge. But Mr. Lodge so admired his pastor, whose name was Blacklock, that he named his foundry Blacklock Foundry.
Really?
And it functioned as such from 1896 until 1910, and it burned down. And they rebuilt it down the road, and from then on it was called Lodge, and it still exists, making ironworks. But anyway, during that 16-year period of time, 14-year period of time, they made flat irons, also known as sad irons.
Wow.
And,
wow, that's heavy.
That 7 means 7 pounds.
Wow, neat. So this has been in your family a long time?
No.
Oh. Okay.
My father found one time, then he found another one. He gave one to me and one to my sister.
Wow.
And so now with the internet, eBay,
wow,
I've bought about 10 of them.
Oh, and are you giving this to me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, thank you.
Go on eBay sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe we can bid against each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just type in Blacklock, and every once in a while you'll find one of these
Oh my
irons.
goodness, an heirloom. Wow, that's great. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
So I think I'm very close to finding Sim, where he came from, and I want to take it all the way back to Africa. I think I'm very close. He won't let me sleep, and he keeps inspiring me to look for him, because when I look for him, I am going to honor him, and I'm not going to stop until I do that. And I know that's what he would want. And once I find where Sim came from, I'm going to pass his family history on to my grandchildren and my children and to the rest of the Blacklock family, so we will have something to be proud of and something to remember. And that is what keeps me motivated to find where Sim came from.
Simbo Mansia Ejalia